Hello, welcome. Sorry for that little bit of delay there, but I had to rebuild everything, so I decided I'd also start mucking around with the set. So I just needed to make sure that everything was working because it's been kind of a game of musical chairs here for the past 48 hours or so. But I think we're good. I think everything's in place. So thank you for being here. My name is Kathleen, and I am here as your tech coach. Basically, what that means is I help small businesses figure out the tech, find ways to make tech help them, and just generally try to make tech more useful, because that really is the idea behind it. And tonight we're going to talk about an important topic, right? Can your potential customers trust your business? So basically we're talking about what happens before they reach out to you, either on your website or in your store or on your e-commerce site, however it is that they're reaching out to you, however it is you do your business. There's a process that happens before that. And the question tonight is the information that they find online helping them decide that you are the person that is going to best serve their needs, help them out, whatever that may be. So that is a topic we're going to be talking about. I'm just kind of level setting, making sure everybody is up and running. I think we actually are, which is really cool. Because when you start mucking around with the things I was mucking around with, it could go either way. But I think we're good, which is excellent because it is 8 o'clock and time to start the show. So let me get things going. Hello and welcome. My name is Kathleen and I'm here as your tech coach. For those of you who are new, I talk technology. Basically business technology, small business technology, because the idea is that technology should be helping us. And not everybody has a resident tech to talk to, so that's what I'm here for. I bring a topic every week, but you are more than welcome to throw other questions into chat. I just do this so that we have a starting point. But if you have other questions, feel free, don't hesitate. That's what I'm here for. All right, so tonight we are talking about the process that happens before your customer starts to engage with you, right? It's really one of the most critical pieces, and it's a piece that a lot of people feel is out of their control. But that's not really the case, because there are some things that you can do. We know certain things, right? We know that people like to comparison shop. We know that people like to do research before they start to engage. It's the rare exception that somebody just walks in cold, knows nothing about you, and decides to do business with you, right? There's usually some process that gets them in contact with you. Whether that's an ad or a reference or a friend, or they've driven by your place 1,000 times and now they have a need, whatever it is, the odds are there's been some prep work before they actually start to talk with you. And the other side of that is there may be people who start to consider doing business with you and then don't because of reasons, right? So that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is what you can do to help your potential customers trust your business. All right, let's dive in because we've got a lot to talk about. All right. And see, I told you things were going to go a little bit wrong. Hang on one second. I can fix that one quickly. This is what happens when things are changed. But it's okay. It's all good. We got it covered. This is what life is about, right? Life is about change. And change is the only constant, and all those kinds of things. We all know these things, right? So let me just crop it a little bit, crop it that way, crop it this way. All right, we're getting there. One more crop, I think. Here we go. And we'll zoom it out a little bit. Okay, now we're ready. See how easy it is when you have the right tools? Okay, see? Much better. Ta-da! Oops, sorry, hit the other camera. All right, so what can you do to help that potential customer, right? What can you do to get them in the door? How can you help them make sure that they're feeling good about the decision? And the thing is, I know that you're good at making those connections once you start engaging with them, right? But the question is, how do you do this before they actually start to talk to you? So this is really about the scent of information foraging. There's a lot of terms for it, but it's basically that process people do of checking online. Right? That's what they do. They probably found out about you online in some way, shape, or form, and you want to make sure that what they're finding about you and about your products, about your services, mirrors what it is their expectations are and what you can provide. So the trick here is that there's this concept of like the scent of information. Now, you may not have heard it, maybe sort of an insider term for my world, for user experience, but the idea is that when somebody goes looking for something, right, when they start to do a search, they already have a picture in their head of where they think they're going. And so they put in a term, click on a link, whatever it is that gets them started. And they're looking really for a trail that feels right. Okay, they're wayfinding. And once they think they found the right one, then they continue down that path, right? And as the scent, right, as the scent gets stronger, as the feedback feels like it's mirroring what they're looking for and starts to narrow them down to where they want to be, they get more engaged. They get more eager. They feel more confident about being on the right path, about being able to make the right decision. The problem is the flip side, okay? If they click on something and what they get does not match their expectation, or that quote unquote smells bad, right? That's when they back away. They may abandon altogether and go look for somebody else because now they've already had what in their mind is a bad experience and they're out, right? Because let's face it, they could have 50 tabs open, right? Of competitors, similar businesses and all that. So they're not going to spend a ton of information if they start to get that bad vibe. It starts to feel like it's not the right fit. They're going to be like, no, that's okay. I'm out. I'm going to go look for something else. The other side of this is what they call loss aversion, right? So people don't like to lose or miss out on things, but they also don't want to end up making decisions that ends up losing them time, money, face, reputation, all that kind of stuff. This is really the core reason why people comparison shop. Most people only think about it in terms of price, and of course that is there. Once you get it down to apple kind of a comparison, it may come down to price for them. But in order to get to that level, they first have to go through the other decision checkpoints that they have in their heads to get down to a smaller group that they can start to feel like they're comparing like things. People want to feel confident about their decision, which means they need to feel confident about you and your business before they're going to, quote unquote, pull that trigger, right? So what your whole point here is, with everything that you've got out there, however you are disseminating information about who you are, what you do, what services and goods you provide, you want to make sure that you are anticipating and answering their questions, presenting the information, and you want to make sure that you're leaving the customer wanting to know more. Okay, that does not mean withholding information. You want them to be excited that, yes, this is it. This is the person I need to talk to. I hope they can handle my special situation, right? So you're going to give them the information about who you are, what you do, experience, testimonials, all that kind of stuff. Everybody's going to come to you feeling special, even if for you it's the same old, but you want them to feel like, okay, this is it. This is the one I need to talk to. I'm excited now. I want to go and talk to this person. I want to get the ball rolling, right? So you want to make it easy for them to get to that point, right? And then when they get to that point, you want to make it very clear to them to know where to go, what the next steps should be, and ways to ask for help. If they're not quite sure, they think they're close, but they're not quite ready, right? There's like one little thing that they want to take care of. Make it easy for them to get that one thing taken care of. So here are some simple ways to help customers feel the trust about your business. Really comes down to 4 things, okay? You want to make sure that everything you've got out there and everything that you do is honest, clear, consistent, and connected. We'll go through each one of these. The thing that you need to keep in mind as you're doing this is you can't just do this in one place, okay? Because people gather their information, right, from many different sources. Okay, so it could be, it'll be a mix of social media, it'll be search results, it'll be reviews, testimonials, friends, family, co-worker recommendations, just maybe, news blurbs, right? If you've got the kind of business, where maybe it shows up in the news every so often. All of these things are players in the decision-making process. And so you need to do everything you can to make sure that the right information is getting out there, making sure that you have whatever control you can get over the information that's out there so that it's being presented the right way. Because all of these pieces, nobody's ever going to come to you and say, well, this piece is the one that made me say no, because it's a subconscious process, right? As they're going through and they're looking at all this stuff and they're reading all this stuff, subconsciously they're making decisions, even if they're not completely aware of it yet. Usually, subconsciously, they've made the decision before they realize they've made the decision, which is a whole other interesting part of the user experience, customer journey. But for your purposes, these are the things you want to focus on, is being honest, clear, consistent, and connected. So let's go through each one of these one by one. Honest. Now, obviously, if you're in a business and you've survived for any length of time, you're not a shyster, right? So we're talking about a little bit above that, right? We're talking about things like, don't be pitchy. humans like to talk to humans. Humans like to feel like they're being talked to as a human, okay? So make sure that you don't sound like you're sell the whole time, right? Make sure it sounds like you're talking. Make sure that you're presenting the information, calm, relaxed, right? A certain amount of excitement is okay depending on what the topic is, but you don't want it to come off like you're right in their face yelling at them the whole time. That's not what you want to do, okay? Nobody wants that. You want to make it a conversation. It should feel like a dialogue. It should feel like you're providing information, they're asking questions, going back and forth. That is where the core of honesty comes from in a business relationship, and frankly, also in human relationships. Don't try to hide things, because people will be able to tell. People can always tell if you're hiding something, if you're lying, if you're being creative with the truth, right? This is not a time for that, right? You save that for when you're playing, poker with your buddies. So don't cover up or omit. If you're new to the business, be honest about it, and then put it in the best possible light, of course. But don't say, we've been in business for 50 years if you've been in business for 5 minutes. An exaggeration, of course, but you get my point. You want to make sure that the information you're providing is verifiable and true and comes across as honest and authentic, right? As much as you possibly can, show and or educate, don't hard sell. That always, anytime somebody starts to feel like they're getting the hard sell, they start to pull back. They start to have negative feelings about the encounter. Because being sold, I'm sorry, there's a lot of this tonight, but being sold makes us feel like we're being taken advantage of, that someone's trying to pull a fast one, right? We want to feel in control when we're making these decisions, right? When we're going, whether you're dealing with a vendor or you're dealing with another business, think about yourself, right? That's how you want to feel. You want to feel like you're making the decision from the point of being educated and, that word just went flying away. It'll come back. But you want to make sure that the buyers feel in control, because that's how they're coming into things. They're coming about this because they have an issue, they have a problem, they're looking to buy something, they're looking for service, and they want to know that you are going to provide that, and that you're not just going to try to sell them because you need to sell somebody because you need to make numbers this month, right? You want it to make it very clear to the person, consciously and subconsciously, right, that they're making a choice to buy, right? People don't want to be sold, they want to choose to buy. It sounds like a subtle difference, but it's huge for the human psyche. And don't shoot for being overly polished, right, or perfect, because that also comes across as fake and inauthentic, right? Because nothing is perfect, right? We're all real. We all have our flaws. We all have our strengths. And the same thing is true about our businesses, because our businesses are built by us. So be honest about that. It's okay for there to be, a little bit of a rough edge here and there, as long as what you are going to be providing them meets their needs. Then they're not going to worry about the fact that, maybe, okay, your hair was a little up when you did a video, or, whatever concern it is that you have. If you're so controlled with your message that nothing ever squeaks through that's human, people are going to be turned off by it. So you want to make sure that you're being human. You want to be accessible. You want to be relatable. Your business, these are one and the same, especially for us small business folks, right? The easiest way to do this is to make sure you are always focusing on your potential customers' wants, needs, desires, right? It's not about you. Yes, you do need to explain who you are, a little bit about your history, because they want to feel like they're getting to know you and in addition to what you're bringing to the table. But you want to make sure that 80% of the focus is on them, what they want, what they're looking for, what they're concerned about, anticipating those kinds of needs. And that's the best way that you can go about building that know, like, and trust before they've even met you. Does that make sense? Yes, okay. Thank you for that. Nope, that's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah. Right, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. So over on Periscope, they're saying you want to be, even though it's your business, you want it to be real and human. And that's exactly what we're talking about, right? You don't have to put on business face and then take it off and be human, right? You can be a business owner and be human all at the same time, because that's how you live your life. That's how you do your business. So let that shine through. That's what people are going to be looking for. All right, let's move on. Clear. This is super important. This also falls back into the honesty thing. I wasn't sure which one to put this on, because this is all about providing information in a simple, straightforward language, right? Plain language, simple terms. Avoid wherever you can jargon and insider terminology, unless that's what your audience expects and needs from you, okay? There are situations where your audience is not going to respect you if you're not speaking their language. So you do have to, dial this in appropriately. But, if you are selling, so for example, right, I'm technology. I don't start by talking to people about, memory and upload speeds and circuit boards and, motherboards and all those kinds of things, because for a lot of people, it's like, whoa, too much, I'm out. I talk to them in their language, right? But when I'm talking to developers, then I talk to them in their language, right? And I talk to business people in the business language. You need to dial it in. You're not hiding, you're not lying, you're just adjusting the tone and the terminology so that the person doesn't feel stupid. Nobody needs to feel stupid. Nobody wants to feel stupid. Nobody wants to be talked down to. You may not be doing that intentionally, but that's the way it comes across if you're not speaking to people in the language that they understand. So mirror the language of your potential audience. Make sure that you are presenting the information that way, and that way they'll feel comfortable enough to want to continue the conversation. Please, and this is another one, like some of these could have gone either way. It's either honest or here. Don't hide prices, limitations, whatever. So a lot of people will do this, a lot of small businesses will do this because they don't want to reveal secrets to their competitors. Take your competitors out of the equation, okay? Because they're not your focus here. Your focus here is your potential customers. So yeah, maybe your competition's going to pick up a piece of information here or there. So what? You're better than them anyway, right? So if they pick up a piece of information, that's fine. Maybe it'll make them do a better job on their end. Who knows? But don't try to hide that stuff. Don't make it so, well, no, you got to contact us to get the prices. Right away, that's a turnoff, because it's like, okay, well, what are you hiding? And if you think about it, when you go and you look for things, you think that way too, but sometimes we have a hard time taking those experiences, right, and mapping them to the business experience that we're trying to build for our customers. And it's important to remember that, just like how we have things that are triggers for us when we're out there looking around, our potential customers have those same exact triggers, because we're all human. We all have the same wants and needs. So don't hide this stuff. Put it out there. Now, you can say, maybe, average price, because maybe with a service, sometimes it depends on the situation or the combination of things that they need, or if you're selling a product, there's the standard price and then maybe there's customization prices. It's okay to say approximately on average, here are some reasons why it could go up or down. That's all fine. It doesn't have to be, written in stone, but they should come away with some feeling of whether or not they can afford it, or again, whatever information they need in order to make the decision for themselves. So don't hide that stuff. You've got nothing to hide, right? You're doing an honest business, so just go ahead and put it out there. Anticipate the questions and concerns of your potential audience and address them. Because you know what questions people are going to have, right? The questions that are asked most often. You maybe don't want to answer them 1,000 times a day. Maybe you do, I don't know. But the idea is, the more you can anticipate that kind of stuff, the more you can provide that information out there. Now, not everybody's going to see it, okay? Not everybody's going to catch it. But for the people who do, again, that's just shining a much better light on you. Because if you are that attentive to them before they've even talked to you, how can they not be impressed, right? Look at this place. Like, I was thinking about dealing with these people, and look, like, so many of my questions were answered just by going and looking at the stuff. I really feel like I can trust these people. These people are on the ball. They know what it is I'm looking for. I'm going to give them a call. I'm going to stop in. I'm going to hit their website. Because that's our end goal here, right? We want to make that connection. But you can't blow the doors off, right, with your service and your products until they come to you. You can't be running down the street after them, chasing them, right? So this is all this kind of stuff that will help them come to you so that you can then just dazzle them with the amazing business that you have. So think about it. Listen. Look for those patterns, and then make sure that that information is out there. Connected. This is a big one. So you've got to be where they expect you to be, right? And these days, everybody expects to be able to find out something about everything online. Now, I know for a lot of small businesses, you're like, I don't have the time, this is a big deal, it's expensive. It doesn't have to be, okay, first of all. And if you don't have the time, there are people you can hire who will do these kinds of things, or help you out with them, or hook you up with the right people. But the point is, you have to be there. You have to have a website. It could be one page, okay? It doesn't have to be a 5,000 page website. Literally, you can have a one-page website and start to build that trust. You need to be, maybe on Instagram or in Facebook or Snapchat or LinkedIn. It depends on where it is your customers are. And if you're not sure, you can do some searching online yourself, because there's a lot of good information out there about different audiences and where they're spending most of their time. There's all kinds of surveys that are done. A lot of those the results are published for free. So go find out where they are. Make sure that you've got the stuff out there. And then make sure that you're putting all that information out there. You're making the best use of it. For example, you're not going to go to Instagram and put, a 15 paragraph, thing about, who you are and your products and all that kind of stuff. That belongs on your website. But on Instagram, you could show, you peek behind the scenes, right, at work, or you could feature products, or you could, whatever it is that comes into your mind. You could inspirational quotes, or, funny picture of your dog, whatever it is that will connect with your audience, and mix in a little business with a little human as you go through it, because that's the kind of thing that people respond to on Instagram. And bonus, having all these things out there also increases the odds of people sharing it with their friends and family and coworkers, which is just extending your reach. So there's no good reason not to. I understand time and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't have to be a big issue. There's lots of ways to automate this stuff. So you could sit down once a month and put it together, spend an hour, put them together, schedule them, and then they'll just take care of themselves for the rest of the month. And you'll be exactly where people expect you to be. That said, make sure that you don't have orphaned content out there. So don't start your Instagram, be really strong on it for 3 weeks and then walk away from it for a year and a half. Because that is the kind of thing that people are looking at. So when they're evaluating you and they're thinking, maybe I should, maybe this person can help me, maybe this business is my answer, you've got to keep in mind that they're looking for these things as parts of that puzzle I was talking about earlier. So fine, so you had the Instagram, or, you were on LinkedIn, or, you had your Facebook page, but then if they go to visit it, and they see that, your Instagram hasn't been touched in a year and a half, and Facebook hasn't been touched in 2 years, and your website has got some stuff on it, but it's, incredibly outdated, or just any one of those, that starts to erode at the confidence that they're having, because it's like, well, if you can't be bothered to keep your business information up to date, if you can't be bothered to make sure that you're putting out fresh content, maybe you don't care that much about your business, and I don't want to do business with somebody who doesn't care about their own business, because I want them to care about my results too. So this feels like something that doesn't matter, but it is exactly the kind of thing that will keep somebody from contacting you if this is a hotspot for them. So make sure that you're doing it on a regular basis. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be every day, okay? You could do it once a day, once a week, once a month, whatever it is that works for you and for that platform, but don't let them go flat. If you really can't, if you start to do this and you really can't support all of them, then pick a couple. Your website is a must. You have to have at least a one-page website. But, maybe if you don't want to be on all the socials, pick one or two, but then actively go down and shut down the others so that they don't look like they've just been left out there to dry. Because that does not transmit the right message. You want to show that you are attentive to your business, because if you're attentive to your business, people expect you to be attentive to them. They kind of assume that that's a one-for-one, and it probably is. So make sure that is clear. Also, and this is so important, make sure that your messages and your presentation link up into one cohesive picture across all of them. Okay, that is super important. You don't want to have one look and feel over here and then another over there and a completely different message someplace else. People are like, I don't know who this business is. Is this them? Is this them? Or is this them? I don't know. I can't be bothered to find out. I'm moving on. I'm going to my next tab. So you really need to make sure that you are being consistent about it. That's why I recommend sitting down, spending, half hour, an hour every month and doing all of them, because when you've got them all in front of you, you'll automatically catch any inconsistencies that you might be letting creep in, and you'll be fixing it because you'll see them all next to each other. It's really not a good situation when people are just kind of throwing this stuff out there. And then the message is all messed up, or maybe you've got different people managing it, right? You've got one person doing your website, you've got somebody else doing your Instagram, and they've got a completely different tone and style and a way of explaining things. That's fine for their personal lives, but you need to make sure that for your business, this is how we're doing it. Okay? And that doesn't mean that there's not room for creativity or expression. It just means that you want to be consistent, you want to be on message, you want to be using the current logo, not the old logo here, the current logo here, and now here's a test logo. Let's try that there. No. One, keep it across. Your branding colors, keep it across. Your tone, your terminology, the way that you're expressing yourself, keep that consistent all the way across. And anybody who you're paying to do this kind of stuff should be able to adjust their tone and their approach so that it fits inside of who you are and how you want to present your business, right? Does that make sense? I think we're good on that. Do you say yes? No? Yes? Good. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we'll keep going here. Okay. Another big one. Consistent. You need to be consistent. Okay. We can go home now. So this is, again, about the fact that the information comes from a lot of different places. So you want to make sure that the message is clear, your image is clear, all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure that you're doing things on a regular basis. So if you decide that you're going to do, you're going to build your website and just update it as needed, that's fine. But then you're going to do maybe Instagram once a week and you're going to do LinkedIn once a month. Fine. That's totally fine. Stick to that schedule. If you want to bump it up and make it, twice a week for Instagram, once a week for LinkedIn, and maybe once a week for Facebook, fine. But just make sure that you are being consistent about it, that, if you decide that you're going to release, new content or you're going to post new stuff Tuesdays and Thursdays, then make sure you do that because you're creating a habit. You're creating an expectation with your audience. And again, a lot of people may take a while of watching you and thinking about you before they go ahead and do the contact with you. So you want to build that consistency up so that they know that, hey, look, these people are reliable. They're always there. Now that doesn't mean that you can't do the occasional on the fly. That's totally fine too, as long as you're also sticking to your consistent schedule. Schedule. Yeah. Also, make sure that you Google yourself. Okay, I know Googling shouldn't be a verb, but for the purposes of this conversation, it is. Because you can count on the fact that other people are going to do that. Look at it. Look at it through the eyes. Like if you didn't know you and you were looking at this, what would that information present to you? Are you coming up in the list where you expect to? Is anything negative coming up that you need to go take care of? Is anything old that you forgot about coming up? Okay, maybe you need to go and clean that up. Make sure that, if there are, places that do reviews, if you are the type of business that like a Yelp or something like that would cover, make sure that you are consistently going in there and responding to comments, good, bad, and different. Make sure that you're doing it appropriately. You don't want to get into troll wars with anybody. It's not worth it. But do, address the good and the bad. Same thing on your website. Make sure that you're going in consistently and responding to any questions or comments or thumbs up or whatever it is that they're giving you. Same thing on Facebook. Make sure that you are engaging and that you're keeping an eye on things. If you can't do it, again, you can hire somebody to do it. Maybe there's somebody on your staff who can do it, but you need to be doing this on a constant basis. You don't want somebody to post a question or a comment and have it sit there for 2 months untouched. Okay? That does not look well for you. It looks like you're not paying attention. And obviously, that's not the situation, right? Okay, so to wrap up, the best way that you can make sure that people are going to start to trust you before they start doing business with you is to make sure that you are honest, clear, consistent, and connected across the board. You want to make sure that everything that they run across is all feeding into that information that they need in order to get things to the next level with you, which is, of course, reaching out and doing business with you. All right. Does that sound good and reasonable to everybody? Are we all good? Are we all happy? Good. Excellent. All right. I will be back next Thursday, as usual, with a different topic at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube, probably. Things may be changing over the summer. I may try some different things myself, because that's what we do here. But you can always check things out. You can always go to my website to see what's going on. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter and all the places. So you'll always be able to get updates there. And if you want to be very, very sure, sign up for the mailing list, because I always keep the people on the mailing list up to date. So if you want to know what's coming, what's changing, what the next topic's going to be, feel free to go ahead and sign up for the mailing list. And also, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to bring them either to these live streams or contact me directly. And that's totally fine too. Just let me know if you need a fast answer, because then I'll respond to you immediately. Otherwise, usually what I do is save it for these kind of conversations. And I have a couple minutes, so I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you why this topic came up. So somebody, I've been thinking about trying a service myself, and I saw a couple of ads come up for this one person. I'm like, okay, kind of like the way they're presenting this. It sounds like they're on target. So I reached out to them. They're like, okay, great. We do a a live session. You know, we'll get on Zoom and have a conversation. I'm like, great. So she's like, okay, well, here's some information to get you rolling. So I'm like, okay, great. Let's start look at it. She was trying really, really hard. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to out her because it's not going to help anything. But she evidently has a business now, and she's branching into a new area, which is great. Totally fine. The problem is everything she sent me about the new business was really just about her. There was really no detail, no meat about this new business, the one that I was actually interested in. And everything that I found when I searched for her on Google was a complete mismatch to what it is she was selling. So when I got on the call with her, I'm like, okay, I'm a little confused, because I looked at the stuff you sent, I looked around on the web, I said, and I thought you were doing A, but it looks like you're doing XYZ. She's like, oh, well, yeah, that's my other business, but, for this one, I sent you everything. And I'm like, well, you didn't, and your message is messed up. So this is why I actually decided to do this topic this week, because it is the kind of thing that we can all fall into without needing to. So you just want to make sure that if somebody's coming to you for whatever it is that you're offering, whether it's a new thing or an old thing, that when they are looking through your material, when they're searching for you, that they're getting a consistent message. Or it's okay to have different things going as long as you've clearly segmented what each one is and how they either connect or don't. I'm not going to end up doing business with her, unfortunately, but this is what triggered in my head, because I'm like, wow, I'm sure there's a lot of people that, this just happens to over time, because you get excited about starting something new and you start to push. The thing is, it's kind of funny because most people wait too long to do ads. But in this case, she was clearly doing ads before she did anything else. It's like, okay, good enthusiasm, but maybe just push it off a little bit. All right, everybody. So that's why I don't always explain, but I just thought it was kind of a helpful story for this conversation, because this is why I got into this topic tonight. All right, everybody. I will see you next week. I hope you have a great weekend and a great beginning to next week. And as always, feel free to reach out. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye. Right, that one.